What is up, guys? Finally, we have the announcement that next LSSR is going to be Gouketsu. So this is the review you have been waiting for. Everybody, I'd like to introduce you the best AoE monster character, Gouketsu. So a brief introduction into what you're going to expect from your own Gouketsu if you desire to pull him. He is considered one of the most versatile characters in the game. You can play him as high damage one-shot / crit, or you can build him as a reliable tank in the event that you do not have one. He is also considered one of the best AoE monsters in the game. Now, this is only temporary as we're going to have more AoE monsters coming up, such as Awakened DSK and Awakened Subterranean King. But for now, at least within the next 7 to 9 months, Gouketsu will be at the apex of Monster Tournament as well as Monster Peak Arena. He also shines in PvP. He is best played in the arena until people decide to build crit. I am mistaken with my previous comments. It's not when SSR Genos comes out, it's when people realize how broken crit is. So when watching this video, a lot of people will get to know that crit is actually pretty broken and they might want to swap out their attack gears for crit gears after this. He's also quite decent in PvE as a main supporter, but you don't really need a supporter in PvE, let's be real. We're looking for highest damage, we're not looking for rounds to survive. His passive boosts tenacity. What does this mean? It means your team's survivability is increased, especially if you have Tank Top Master with Keepsake. That is the best possible level of tenacity boost that can be achieved with Gouketsu at the moment. Now, his cons. He's very susceptible to crit. We'll get into this in the abilities breakdown. More or less, Genos ends his career. Why? Because Genos is the flagship for crit meta. Why do I say this? Is because Genos' abilities actually scale very well with crit, and his ultimate, which is his main haymaker, is known to deal incredible amounts of damage, which you will see in the meta analysis later. And also, a major con is grappler starvation. This can be solved if you were planning to pull Gouketsu since day 1. So if you've been saving resources like Monster Omni Shards as well as Grappler Badges and are ready to 4-star him on the first day, you are ready for Gouketsu and you're ready to make him the monster that he is. If you are lacking resources to push Gouketsu to where he needs to be, I suggest you double back and you think wisely whether you should pull him. Now, abilities breakdown. His passive is known as Master Martial Artist. So, he reduces non-critical damage by 30% and it flows in a T-shape. What do I mean by a T-shape? If you look at the screen, you can see Gyoro, RMG and Phoenix Man fit into the T-shape on the left-hand side of the Arena Challenge. And on the right-hand side, RMG, Gyoro and CK. So that is the T-shape that I'm talking about. So let's say you put him at the far end, it will only work towards the middle and the back. That's it. It will not function towards the right side. So his placement is usually in the center, either in the front or the back, depending on where you want to position him. If you want to position him as a main damage dealer, you must rush him with speed and then make sure he one-shots, so there's no problem in putting him at the front. But if you're running him as a tank, you might want to put him at the back because same reasons to CK, he might get one-shot by Boros. Healing and tenacity is boosted by 70% for 2 rounds. That's the latter part of his passive. It's really good, especially if your team requires a lot of healing. Gyoro, or if I'm not mistaken, actually heals, so you can boost that healing as well. In his extreme passive, you reduce non-crit damage by 35%, so it's a 5% influx, and healing and tenacity is boosted by 80%, so it's a 10% influx. So it's a reliable extreme passive, but I wouldn't say that it's so necessary for you to rush it. you will eventually get to it if you're training Gouketsu. His basic attack, known as Gouketsu Kick. He hits a single target for 120% damage and inflicts an internal injury, which procs 100% of Gouketsu's attack when detonated. So let's have a look. So a very simplistic ability because it's a basic attack. Now we're at abilities breakdown 2. So let's look at his ultimate, Gouketsu Punch. So he attacks 6 enemies, dealing a whopping 180% damage. That is absolutely ridiculous. He heals himself for 20% of his max hit points. So this is considered one of the highest damage percentage ratio abilities in the game for a base ability. And then for his Ultra Ultimate, he attacks 6 enemies as stated before, dealing a whopping 210% damage. That is absolutely ridiculous. And heals himself for 30% max HP. So let's have a look at each ability. So this is the normal ultimate first. Not bad, ground shaking, really cool, really sick. And this is his Ultra. Wow, look at that. He wipes out the entire arena. Okay, very sick visuals. I would get the KS just for aesthetic, but I pay in the game. So if you're free to play, please do not get his keepsake. So let's jump into the meta analysis. Welcome back everybody to a new installment of meta analysis, where we look at the featured character and how he performs in the competitive meta. So now we're going to have a look at Gouketsu. So Gouketsu, in my opinion, is one of the strongest monster side character and one of the few monster side that can actually deal AoE 6. The only other character I can think of at the moment is Gyoro, whose ultimate also hits for 6, but that's more of a flat damage, as Gouketsu actually scales very well with the attack stat as well as crit. So when we talk about meta, we consider how the character performs as a competitive character within the other available options. In my opinion, Gouketsu is a very strong unit up until people realize that critical is a necessary stat, which is around now. Personally myself, I'm building my Gyoro in Southeast Asia with critical. He currently has 65% critical percentage, and he is more or less ready to take down any Gouketsu player who is ill prepared for the current meta. So why do I say critical is very important? This has got to do with his passive called Master Martial Artist. So he reduces all non-critical damage by 35%. So if you get a character who can land crits, Gouketsu's passive, at least a portion of it, is nullified. The other aspect of his passive is buffing shields and heals for the first 2 rounds. For his normal passive, it's 70%. This is his 5-star passive, so it goes up to 80%. So judging from this, in theory, Gouketsu sounds like a very strong character, right? Wrong. Because you need a certain level of gearing and knowledge of the game for you to make sure that your Gouketsu can perform at his peak. So what do I mean by this? I mean, in terms of gearing, you should go for definitely attack percentage. I feel like it's a necessary stat, especially if you're gunning for one-shot Gouketsu. You definitely need some speed in your build. Unfortunately, this player does not have the luxury of having attack percentage knight gear, so he opts for attack speed instead, and you can see why that is a bad option after this. I'll just reveal his attack stat. So it's only a measly 329k. For those people who think 329 is high, you haven't seen anything yet. For those who are in the know, 329k is at best average. It's nowhere near the apex of what damage can be. Personally, my Gyoro is 4 stars in Southeast Asia and is already nearing 400k damage. So this Gouketsu is considerably behind in terms of damage, but that can be akin to gears. So what if we had proper gears on Gouketsu? Then his damage would skyrocket to more or less roughly soaring between 400 to 435k without keepsake. With keepsake, he will definitely be way better, at least 450. And it seems this account has only properly geared Flashy Flash, and that's the reason why I call this person the Flashy God, because his priority is 100% on Flashy Flash. So enough with the jibber jabber, let's actually see how well Gouketsu performed. So I've actually pre-recorded before this, and I've already shown how strong Gouketsu is, so we just have a relook at what I did. So in this battle is again Bomb Core against Gyoro Core. So most people will say, oh, SSR Genos is like such a big counter to Gouketsu. And then he actually gets destroyed by Bomb Core. That is 100% true, but at the same time, if you have a well-trained Genos, nothing can stop you. That is just my opinion. Feel free to disagree with it, that is fine. Because Gyoro actually reduces max HP, it doesn't really get, it isn't really bothered with Bomb Core. So as you can see, the damage is pretty much nullified because this is more or less a weak Genos. In my opinion, this Genos is very weak. It's probably nowhere near what anybody would consider a strong Genos. So why do I say this Genos is weak? It's because he didn't do any damage. Some of you might be saying, oh, it's because of Bomb Core. I've seen Genos burst through Bomb Core like it's nothing. It's just that this Genos is not whale enough. So you may be thinking, oh, Genos is a whale unit. He's not. It's just that if you do not train him properly, he will basically be doing no damage. Unless you're willing to throw enough money in the game to basically nullify Bomb's core through Genos, yeah, you will have fun for at least 6 to 7 months before your Genos is more or less muted. I wouldn't say he's completely useless, it's just that his value is muted. So enough about Genos. So we'll see what actually Gouketsu gets done. Besides the tenacity buffer, I don't think anybody would just put Gouketsu just as a support unit, because that's a pretty bad idea. So it's Gyoro against Gyoro Core now. So we'll see how this Genos actually does versus my team. Because everybody is saying like Gouketsu actually counters Genos, but we'll have a look. Oh, that's not a counter, guys. That is in no way a counter, guys. Guys, come on. Let's be real. That is bullshit. That is a well-trained Genos. Like, the difference is night and day, my guys. My god! My health just dropped. And then you might be saying, oh, it's no fair that Genos has keepsake. This Gouketsu has keepsake too. So does this Flashy Flash. So that argument is invalid. Damn! What damage? He's playing slow MG, so it's basically mostly for the follow-up. And it's over. Wow. Guys, yeah, that Gouketsu definitely did a good job in preventing Genos from one-shotting the team. That is 100% true. I'm kidding. This is satire, guys. That Gouketsu did nothing. Absolutely nothing. So some of you might be saying, oh, it will be better with Silver Fang. So let's put in Silver Fang. Okay, we'll move out Gyoro for a different Esper. And we'll play Silver Fang. Oh, let's put in ATT actually. So everybody will be telling me that, oh, we need a better tenacity character. The healing aspect itself is not enough. So we'll test it again. This time against a different player who's also using Gyoro Core. Silver Fang definitely be helping right now. Yeah, no doubt. Flashy shield is disgusting. That much is true. Ultra Alt Phoenix Man. So even with Washed Up Man now, it's at +2 -2 energy. So Gouketsu is basically having no value in this fight at all. And those who want to disagree with me, tell me what Gouketsu is actually trying to achieve. Sure, you can use the argument that this is a poorly trained Gouketsu, but do you think you can train a Gouketsu better than this? I highly doubt so. If you think I'm looking down on you, I'm just stating the facts. Do you have the resources to actually push Amai, BK, Gouketsu, as well as CK or any of your designated tank together to make sure that they maintain a certain level of relevancy? Because you're going to need Amai and BK for PvE because you don't have Gyros. So that is what you need to consider now. Besides having issues with pulling PT, you need to understand whether you have the resources to actually play the character or not. So for those people who are saying like, oh, Gouketsu is very good for Monster Peak Arena. Yes, he's good. If you have money, he's good. You think this character at the apex of Peak Arena actually don't spend? Come on guys, it's like 1, 2, 5 purple star characters and everything else is 2 and 3 purple stars. That's ridiculous. And they're all monsters. It's not like a mix, it's all monsters. Come on guys, you need to face the facts. I'm not trying to be mean to you or anything. I don't hate you guys or anything. But there's a sad reality that you need to face as a player. Like, you cannot get everything. And the main reason why I'm actually pushing you guys not to pull Gouketsu is not because I don't want you to pull Gouketsu or I'm biased against Gouketsu. Personally, if I want to pull Gouketsu myself, I like Gouketsu a lot. But at the same time, I know it's not feasible. The main reason why is that in Taiwan, right after Gouketsu banner was Gyoro. So if that really happens in Southeast Asia, are you willing to sacrifice a core and relevancy for 6 months just so you can pull Gouketsu? This is the big question. And yeah, I'm going to start hitting some bots. These are all bots, so you're going to see everybody get wiped. Because nobody does Peak Arena in China anymore. Nobody really cares about Peak Arena. And some people bring out the argument of, oh, he's good for Peak Arena. Tournament, yes, 100%, he's very good for tournament. I agree. But for Peak Arena, nobody bloody plays it anymore. It's so boring. Most people just do it for the status, that's it. Nobody really has proper intentions of climbing Peak Arena. As you can see, it's pretty much dead, guys. It's all bots. Everybody who's relevant is at the top. If they're not at the top, then they're not relevant. And even the people at the top also don't seem like they really care that much. 6-star CK, that's it. Like, this is not a lineup that can get you to the top, even in C actually. Unless like your characters are on drugs or something lah. But that's more likely than not the case, especially if you're a whale. And I don't think pulling Gouketsu just for the sake of Peak Arena and Monster Tournament is like a big brain move, guys. Please don't do it, please. It's very nerve-wracking that free-to-play are willing to throw their whole game just to pull Gouketsu. So please don't do it. Let's actually see the tournament finals, because I didn't actually get to catch it. So both teams have Gouketsu, so definitely his relevancy in tournament is still there. So if your Gouketsu can do that much damage, then definitely. And Gouketsu, and his health just regens all the way. So even if you can one-shot enemy's HP, is just gonna go back up again. Primal Phoenix Man. And this is mostly a RMG show, not going to lie. And that Gouketsu did 0 damage, my goodness. It's like, guys, I highly doubt that most people's Gouketsu will reach this level, where it's literally one-shotting a whole team. So guys, please don't throw your investment into Gouketsu. I don't think it's a very smart idea. If you want to ignore me and just go ahead, by all means. I couldn't really care less, to be honest. Because I'm just here to advise you. I'm not here to be your parent and babysit you. That's not my job. My job is just to inform you and make you understand what is the necessary requirements for a character. Yes, Gouketsu will last long in the meta. Yes, he will be a relevant character for a very long time in monster side PvP. Is he worth skipping 6 months for? Hell no, guys. You also have the option to pull him in a return banner if you want, but that's also still a bad idea. So if you ask me, I'll say skip Gouketsu. Get Awakened Terrible Tornado, get RMG, get Gyoro. Anybody else you want to get, that's fine. You don't even need to get Genos. According to Kadaman, you don't really need to get Genos. So just chill. Don't be too afraid to skip banners. Especially for those in the newer side, above 150 server. Don't be too afraid. I don't think there are too many whales there. For those in the higher servers, they are mostly whales and they're mostly going to get Gouketsu because they know how to play the game. For those of you who don't know how to play the game very well, please skip Gouketsu for now. Save out for Gyoro. Wish you all the best. That's it for this session of meta analysis. Back to the video. And we're back, everybody. So now let's run into the material expense. So if you're going for a one-shot build, I recommend you 4-star him as soon as possible. Get him as strong as possible so you can maximize and climb the rank fast. You want to get at the top before anybody actually realize it, and you want to maintain it. So you get to the top fast and then you start training your Gouketsu, making sure he catches up and then he stays ahead of everybody. That's my training thought. That's my thought process to how you should run it. If you're playing tank Gouketsu, you can slowly bring him up to 5 stars. Just take your time because he's just filling a tank role, mostly there for the passive. I don't think you should pull him for just the passive. So one shot is recommended. So when I say to recommend you to 4-star ASAP, I mean through Omni Shards. So please prepare 85 Omni Shards and 133 badges total so that you are able to 4-star on day 1. For those rushing to 5-star, the requirement is 239 shards and 343 badge total, which is a lot, but you will get there eventually. Hopefully, nothing that requires your attention will be pulled, or not you will swap extreme training characters and just keep Gouketsu at 4 stars. So, awakening wise, I highly recommend you to go 3 stars if he's your main damage dealer, because you need to get the crit percentage up and the crit damage up. So I highly recommend you go to 3-star. You will reverse him if you require the materials for RMG, so you need to consider that as a free to play. His keepsake is way too close to RMG, not going to lie. So I suggest that you actually save up your Black Shuriken ticket for RMG. That is the much better choice. Additional information. So I like you to take this information with a grain of salt because I couldn't find a proper strong Gouketsu. Because none of the account users that I usually go to are available. So I'm using the same account as the Flashy God. So burst, you should go 3 attack percentage and 1 attack speed night gear. Sorry for the percentage sign. There's no such thing as speed percentage. This is the best tested for reliable burst. If you want to run crit Gouketsu, just swap out the shirt attack percentage for attack crit and swap out the pants for attack crit damage if you like. I still believe that 3 attack is much easier to obtain. So for tank, you want to run suit 4 HP percentage, similar to Carnage Kabuto. For talent, his talent is True Strike 2, so he deals extra damage to units above 80% health, so that's why you want him to run as number 1. And then his sigils, I recommend Sharp Sword. If you're dealing with tenacity characters in the opposite team, you might want to go for Piercing, and then Vitality and Ult damage resist to survive the enemy Gouketsu's ult. For buff gears, you can run 3 attack, 3 HP depending on what you're building. Are you building tank or damage? Now, let's run into his major issues. So, the main thing is crit negates his passive. Some people will be like, oh, nobody builds crit. After people watch my video, they will start building crit. So, do prepare for that. There are better options for tank. You don't need to pull LSSR Gouketsu just for a tank. You have Carnage Kabuto, you have DSK, better options for a tank. But if you still want to pull Gouketsu, by all means, go ahead. He does require specific gears to function. He doesn't really function very well with a broken set. That's just my opinion. I feel like he really runs best with a knight set or a suit set. There's no in between. The banner is close to Gyoro. This is the main major issue, I would say. So his banner in China, there is a buffer period between him and Gyoro, which is Phoenix Man. Whereas in Taiwan, right after Gouketsu was Gyoro. So I'm very concerned for free-to-play players. That's why I'm recommending a lot of people not to pull unless you have access tickets. What do I mean by access tickets? By the time you pull Gyoro, you should have at least 360 tickets. That is the minimum, but you might need a little bit more than that because you only have 2 banners to save for the next banner, which is RMG. RMG is one banner after Genos, so it's Gyoro, Genos, RMG if it runs like that. If it doesn't run like that, then it will be Gyoro, Phoenix Man, Genos, RMG. So, as free to play, you shouldn't really pull Gouketsu because the amount of tickets that you have is very limited. If there was a perfect event where there were 2 banners in between, then yes, I would recommend for you to pull Gouketsu. If not, then I suggest for you to think twice. If you have northwards of 300 tickets currently at the moment, or between 280 to 300 tickets before the Gouketsu banner, then you can pull Gouketsu and Gyoro safely. If that's not the case, I would urge you to think twice. Especially if your luck is known to go to 180. Even if it's not known to go to 180, it might be a little bit difficult. So what I'm trying to say is that Gouketsu is a good unit, definitely. But I feel that you do not take the risk is a better play. That's just my opinion. You feel free to disagree with it. He also requires Silver Fang and Tentok Master. So what do I mean by this? Because you cannot boost Tenacity if Tenacity does not exist in your team. So you're definitely going to need shield units. Alloy is just a waste because you're just shooting yourself. One character only, so there's no point. And you also require 85 Omnis. And I'm very sure most free-to-players don't actually have 85 Omnis now because most free-to-players mismanage their Omnis. If you have 85 Omnis ready for Gouketsu, go for it. So this is the section where I will probably get flamed a lot. So I'm here to address all your questions. So Genos versus Gouketsu. Who would I pick? Personally, I would pick Gouketsu. Because this will answer question 2 as well. I'm biased to Gouketsu. But at the same time, you need to face facts about meta. If free to play, you have to bow down to the meta if you want to be good. You have no options to run odd comps just because that you do not have the spare resources to do it. You do not spend money in the game, so you do not have spare resources to spend on testing out new metas and all that. So in the long term of Genos versus Gouketsu, I would say Genos. Just because that, as I said before, Genos actually hard counters Gouketsu. Even though Gouketsu has insane damage ratios, if you saw in the meta-analysis, you can see that Genos actually nukes Gouketsu very hard. So am I biased to any characters? I'm actually very biased to RMG. I'm biased to Gouketsu. And let me see, what other characters do I actually like? I'm a little bit biased to Watchdog Man because I like Watchdog Man. He looks very, very cool. Other than that, I'm not really biased to most characters. My favorite character is of course Gyoro. I've mentioned it several times already, but I wouldn't call it a bias. I would call it more as I'm simping Gyoro. So yeah, I'm sim Gyoro, I sim RNG. So those will most likely be my main hero and monster until ATT comes out. Then I will swap my main hero. So where do I get my information from? I do my own research. This is a question I get very often from. Not only do I watch videos from JY, I watch from JKG, I watch from Not the Strongest, my friend Ikrin. I also get a lot of information from the Discord server admin by Mika, as well as get information from a few informants, namely Jay. So shout out to Jay. Thanks so much for giving me good information, my guy. He's also the guy that supplies me CN accounts. Is Gouketsu a bad character? No. Gouketsu is not a bad character. If anything, Gouketsu is super OP. But it's just that his banner is very close to Gyoro. So that's why I don't recommend people to pull Gouketsu. If you have the resources to train him, he's definitely one of the strongest characters in the game. But if his stills cannot take over Genos, unfortunately. Because even if your character can one-shot Genos, if Genos still survives and he ults, and that's the end of your team. Is Genos super OP? Yes, but he is a whale unit. So now, I use this term very lightly, whale unit, because every character is a whale unit. If you throw money into any character, they'll be good. Some people will disagree and just be like, oh, Charanko, you throw money into Charanko, he won't be good. You throw money into Triple Staff Lady, she won't be good. That's not what I mean, guys. What I mean by any character is in any relevant meta character. Please don't get me wrong. I'm just here to clarify this. If you throw money into any relevant meta character, such as Tatsumaki, now, like, let's say you threw money into Tatsumaki on day 1 versus now, she's not in the meta anymore. She will definitely won't be as rewarding as before. But if you throw money into, let's say, now you want to throw money into Gyoro, within the next 7 months, he won't be relevant anymore. That's just how the meta works. Gyoro is an exception now because he's a very strong enabler and his ultimate actually not only does it do damage, it also supplies internal injury. So it has certain perks to it which makes it very usable. But at the same time, when you get something like Tatsu, she's a solely burst character and she's usually the main burst character. So it all depends on your understanding of the meta. Why I keep saying meta is because you must, to basically win in PvP, you must understand who is at the apex of your level. Free-to-play should not try to basically compete with whales. Small whales should not try to compete with big whales. Big whales should not try to compete with leviathans. Play within your bracket, because if you don't, the moment you misstep, they cash in, you're back down to where you start, and then you'll just be frustrated. So just play within your means, guys. So is Genos super OP? Yes. Can a free-to-play character actually well-train Genos? Yes, you have so much time to save for a high-tech character. There hasn't been any high-tech character for the past how many banners? God knows. The last high-tech character I think was CE. That's it. So your high-tech resources should be quite up there in terms of badges and all that. And it shouldn't be so hard because you have at least 3 months to save for Genos. So you have 3 months to have fun with Gouketsu. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So thank you so much for watching the video. I'm sorry that it's very, very long this time. But because there's a lot of misinformation and clout in dealing with Gouketsu. So I didn't want to shorten it for the sake of cutting down the time. I wanted to make sure you guys truly understand my opinion. So last but not least, I would say pull Gouketsu if you have the access resources and the access ticket. Don't pull Gouketsu if you don't have. All the best in getting him very early so you can get all your necessary characters that you want to complete your team comp. That's all from me. Peace.